Something. What? What? Be quiet! Or come in, whichever you want to do. Nope, you just want to moan. Hang on, I'll go and put him indoors. Bear with me. Hey folks, how's it going? Been asked by a few people now over some time to get a toolbox tour done, and I've been putting that off a little bit because I've still got tools that I've got to clean up and unpack and put away, but that's probably going to take a little bit of time still. So I thought I'd just get one done now because I don't like to keep everybody waiting for those who are interested. So we'll get that done now. But before we go into the boxes that you see behind me here, I thought we'd just have a look at the first toolbox that I ever bought, which was when I was a kid. So this was the first box that I ever bought, this little toolbox here. It's about 12-14 inches long, and I bought this when I was about 13, I think, with my paper round money, because I needed to maintain my bike myself at that time, and I had a few tools, not very many, but I wanted something to put them in, and I bought this toolbox and a Camasa socket set, which at that time, which would have been somewhere around over 30 years ago now, they were actually made in Sweden and were really nice and good quality kits. So the damp in the old shed workshop has taken its toll on it a bit. I'm going to rub this down and repaint it, but yeah, we don't all obviously start off with super duper tool chests, and if you do start off with a really nice tool chest with loads of drawers and things, well then good luck to you, but this is where I started. So anyway, let's get on with it. Okay, so I've got the two tool chests. I've got the new one here, which I recently undertook a review of on the channel, and if you look in the review section of the channel, you'll find the review for this. I'll put a link to it in the description for this video. And in terms of tool chests and roll cabinets, this was the first one I ever owned, and I'll always keep this one because my wife bought me this set probably about 22 years ago, and you didn't see these kinds of tool chests and cabinets for the home DIY, and that's something I probably need to be clear about. You know, I'm not a mechanic, I'm a dad, I'm a regular guy. The tools that I've got, I've picked up over a period of years, well, from when I was about 12-13 really, when I started having to, you know, I had a necessity to repair my cycle at the time. Yeah, so obviously, you know, I don't need these tools to earn my living or any of that kind of thing. So yeah, so I just thought I'd make that clear. So top chest and the bottom cabinet, as I say, my wife bought me probably about 22 years ago. They are friction slide. You didn't get ball bearing slide then for the sort of DIY, or well, you didn't really get this stuff for the DIY really. Interestingly, I bought the centre section, which wasn't available as part of this set, and I bought that from a shop store in the UK called Argos, and those of you watching this video live in the UK, you'll know of Argos very well. So let's dive in then. So on the top here we've got all the sockets. I've got a 22mm O2 sensor socket there, that's the one you'll need if, like me, you've got an MR2, you've got to replace the socket. Generally, other than the sort of basic tools that you need to get going, a lot of this stuff I've picked up along the way through necessity. This was bought because when I bought the MR2, about a week after it came up with an O2 sensor fault, so I didn't have that, needed to buy them or one of them to change that out. I've got some wheel or lug nut removers here with the nylon coating, and they do very well for not marring your alloy wheels. Interestingly, I used this with an impact gun. I don't know if you can see that crack there. And in actual fact, it was the impact gun I did a review of from Clark not too long ago. The socket itself is fine, but it was a particularly cold day, and the impact gun cracked. I don't know what that is, if it's polyurethane or not. It's probably nylon actually. Yeah, it cracked that, so I'll just drop a bit of glue in that, but that's fine, they work fine. And I've got some spark plug sockets there. That's an old Halford's T50 Torx bit, which I needed many, let's go over here so you can actually see what I'm talking about. I needed that many years ago to strip out the interior seats for a Rover GTI that I had to put a stereo system in. My silver, or standard sort of silver sockets, the core part of this is the Camasa set, which I spoke about a short while ago. These are all of my sockets apart from these ones here are 6-point, and they have lasted very well. I've never broken one of those, and I don't even know what sort of warranty they would have come with at the time, but they've stood me in really good stead. I've still got some sizes to fill in for the trays. The trays themselves, they do the job, they're okay. I think my preference now is for these ones because you've got a fairly stubby peg that the socket fits onto, and that's the sort of drive size that it sits on, as opposed to these. And now with some of these I've had to either sand down or drill out the interior part of the socket. I don't think that one was a problem, but some of them I've had to because they don't actually fit down, and as you can see that is the case there with this, what's that, 12mm. It doesn't drop down. So if you're thinking about buying these ones, I think these were Nielsen, possibly. Just bear that in mind. So yeah, other than the Camasa, there's some sort of random no names that I've been buying. These are Silverline, which is a fairly budget brand in the UK, but that, you know, they're okay. They're quite nicely finished. I've not broken any of them. I've used them for pulling off hub nuts and things. For well, this one I think I used to pull off the hub nut for the rear drum on my son's little Vauxhall Corsa. Yeah, so I've got all of the 1/2 inches in the shallow. I've got some deeps to pick up in the 1/2. I've got all the shallow 3/8 and all but one shallow on the 1/4 inch. Can't find a 15 inch in the chrome vanadium in the UK anywhere. Not for less than sort of stupid money. So not that I'm particularly bothered. I can't say I've ever come across it, but I've got it in an impact, so that's fine. So these here are the only standard American equivalent SAE sockets I've got. I don't use those particularly often. Us in the UK, other than SAE, we previously knew this is Imperial in sort of inches and 1/4 inches and stuff like that. This set here was in the Camasa, the original Camasa set, and this is a BA set. So if there's any guys watching this who ever used these sockets, I understand, I've never had to use them. I've never found anything that really fitted properly. I understand that the BA size, it's got BA sort of 3. You just sort of see that on there. Yeah, BA 0. It's an electrical engineering size, but yes, there we go. The impacts and the trays you've seen possibly on previous tool hauls, and if you haven't, check out the tool haul playlist and you see me talk about these. These are all excellent value. I've used them a couple of times now. I wouldn't expect an impact socket to break in the sort of things that I'm going to be doing with them, but yeah, they're excellent value. The trays, as I say, I prefer these over the ones with the tall pegs. Oil filter removal tool. Personally, I've not had this one very long. I bought this because the MR2 filter is recessed into the oil pan, the oil sump, and it's quite hard to get to with a conventional sort of chain type filter remover. I didn't have any of the cup types, but that's really good. It's obviously adjustable for all kinds of filter sizes. Sort of it'll wind out and winds in, but it really grabs hold of that filter. They're really good. would definitely recommend those if you haven't yet bought a filter tool and you're looking for one. These are good. It comes in a 3/8 fitting with a 1/2 inch adapter on. I've got a little magnetic tray there for parts. I might treat myself to a bigger silver one at some point that I see knocking around. And these bits here are pretty much, if all this doesn't get the nut or the bolt off, and this is going to do it. These are the screw extractors which I shoe on a previous tool haul video. Haven't had the opportunity to use those yet. And there's some screw extractors there. This nut splitter, I bought this at a garage sale for about £2. It's pretty old, but it is relentless. You can stick an impact on the back of that or a breaker bar. You need to get a little bit of leverage on it, and it will just punch its way through the nuts and just split them straight off. Really good, like that. And there's some small nut drivers there, 13 down to about 4mm, I think, something like that. So yeah, so that's the sockets. Let's move on to the trays, drawers, Torx and e-Torx set. So if you've got a Vauxhall, you will definitely have come across these fittings. The only reason I bought this is because we had a Vauxhall Frontera up until last year. I sold my Jeep Grand Cherokee, bought the MR2, we had the Frontera, started doing some work on that, and everything is an e-Torx fitting, internal Torx size. That's quite good. I think that was Blue Spot, that kit. It was reasonable value. This goes from T8 through to T55. And there's a security Torx bit that's at the back there as well, so it's good. Some ball end Allen keys, some standard ones in a little folding holder there. Some stereo removal keys. I used to have a nice removal key set, and someone borrowed it, and I can't remember who it was. I never got that back, so I'll have to pick another one of those up. And the new socket hex bits that I got for Christmas 2017. So I've got in here is my calipers, metal jaws, and they're digital, and obviously you can use them manual as well. They do the job. They've done everything I needed them to do. Some feeler gauges, laser level, another laser level, and that fits on that's got a tripod with it as well, spirit level. My old Stanley power lock measure from my previous life, if you like, when I was a floor layer. Still as good as the day I bought it. Yeah, we're actually in double figures today in terms of temperature outside, which is nice because it's been about -1, -2 all week. Suddenly it's warmed up today. And there's another little measure here with a magnetic, and the back of that is magnetic as well. Bike tools, so I like to mountain bike, and talking of which, I've actually got to get my mountain bike back from my son's after the workshop was finished being built, so I can live back in here again. So there's all kinds of extractor stuff and chain tool, and what I've got there is a fork, air pump there for air sprung shocks on the front of mountain bikes, and crank extractors and all that kind of crazy stuff, and valve tools and a spoke tool and that kind of thing. Chain extension or chain spread tool there to see if your chain's still got a good amount of life left on it. Picks, so this is the new pick set, and my old pick sets are here, and this in actual fact is the only snap-on tool I own, which is a small hook. And I didn't even actually buy this, it was in the boot of a car that I purchased years ago, and when I was clearing it out I came across it and phoned a guy up, said, you've left one of your snap-on tools in here, and he said, don't know what you're talking about, mate, it's not mine, keep hold of it. So in the tray it went, or the box at the time. Punches, chisels, the relatively new stuff, and then there's the old, well not, well I say old, it's still perfectly good. Look after your tools, they last your lifetime. There's the old tools and punches, and there's a spring-loaded punch here that you sort of hold the bottom, pull, sort of spring-load, and then it'll sort of punch in and give you a start point for your drill bit, stop it going crazy and spirally all over the place. Torches. So there's this one here that's got the front beam, and then the main. This one here is probably my workhorse. It was only about £10 I think, but it's got magnets on the back, and it's had a fairly hard life. That it's been dropped and everything, but it keeps going, does its job. It's good. Laser? No, it's not laser. LED torch. Which I got for Christmas. This little one, which we saw in a recent tool haul. There's a couple of pen lights here. I think the batteries are going on. A little mag light, and then another night searcher LED torch there. Sort of like the power cut drawer, if you like. No, haven't done all those. So ratchets and extensions and breaker bars. So if I just come out a bit here, I've got the new breaker bar I bought, 1/2 inch. Got the shorter 1/2 inch there. I've got 3 sort of mini breaker bars here, 1/2 inch, 3/8 and 1/4. A couple of spinner handles. This was the original one that came with the Kamasa set. I'm not even sure where this one turned up from. Probably one of those motorist toolkit things that you tend to pick up over years. I probably would like to pick up a nicer quality spinner handle, but we'll see. I don't use them all that often. There's some extension bars there, 1/2 inch bars. There's the 1/2 inch impact set which I got recently, 1/4 inch 3/8 and 1/2 inch wobble bar set, which is relatively new. I've not actually got to use that yet. There's the 72 tooth Bergen ratchets. Might need to put a little bit, someone suggested I might need to put a little bit of grease in those because they sounded a bit sort of hollow. Don't know, but excuse me, I've used those quite a bit now, and yeah, I like them. These two here were the original ratchets that came in the Kamasa set, and I'm going to have to strip this one and do a rebuild on it because it's corroded a bit from the damp internally, I think, with the in the old shed, and as a result it's a bit stiff, so I'm going to strip both of those down and re-grease those, clean them up. It's just an old 1/2 inch, it's not very fine tooth one. Some random one which I've picked up over time. These indexed flex head ones, they're quite nice. They're by Nielsen. I've got the 3/8 and the 1/2 inch, no, 1/4 inch. I'll pick up the 1/2 inch at some point, there's no big rush. There's the 72 teeth stubbies that I got for Christmas. Got a 5 Newton meter, I think it is. Let's have a little look. 5 to 25 Newton meter torque wrench, and then this one is 20. It's my main one, if you like. This is 20 to 210 Newton meters. I'm not sure what that is in foot pounds. This is German, but you see this particular type, which is the lock-off one. I think a lot of brands sell this particular one, but just rebranded. And I've tested that against a snap-on, a relatively new snap-on one, and it's still in calibration pretty good, and I've had that for years. There are universal joints. I haven't got any of those swivels. There don't seem to be, you know, a lot of the American and Canadian guys who are watching this. I can't seem to find a company who makes those the swivel impact sockets that you buy, unless it's from someone like Snap-on, and it's not something I use that often that I'm going to pay that amount of money for. So in the meantime, you know, these do the jobs fine. You've got your standard sort of adapter things there. I do need to pick up an impact set of these, although to be honest, because I'm nicely picking up all three sizes, they've probably become a bit redundant now. Screwdrivers. So we've got a sort of Black & Decker battery one there. There's a ratcheting handle there. This Cornwell set, I found out about these sets, or someone in the UK selling these sets, from James at the Savage Garage. If you've not checked out his channel, give him a look. He does some cool stuff. Yeah, so I like these screwdrivers. I've seen them in a lot of American toolbox tours, and I was looking for a new set because one of the splines on one of my Phillips heads had broken on the old set, and these were available in new. They're brand new for £30, and I think currently still in the US these are selling for just over $100. Yeah, super chunky handles. You can get a wrench or spanner on there. Nice tips. So I'm really pleased. First off, thank you, James, for telling us about those in one of your tool haul videos, and I was really pleased to get them. They come in a nice tray as well, which always helps to keep things tidy. A couple of long screwdrivers, got me out of a bind a few times. My wife buys quite a few tools. I mean, this is the sort of, she picked me up these actually. And if you get the opportunity to pick a set of these up for a reasonable cost of whatever design or manufacturer you like, I would suggest picking a couple of these up, because you'd be surprised how many times, if you repair things yourself, you're going to need a longer reach screwdriver. So a bit driver there, there's a Stanley bit driver, electrical screwdrivers, stubby ratcheting handle, DeWalt bit set, and just lots of other random bit sets which have suffered a bit once again from corrosion due to damp in the old shed, which this one replaced, so I'll have to give them a bit of a rub down and oil, bring them back to life. And then just some random, some impact bit stuff there, and there's a little ratcheting bit there, and just bits and bobs. Pliers. So starting from this end, I do need to get some kind of plier rack going on here, because they're all sort of leaning against each other, and that's okay, but it's not ideal. So I'm going to have to sort something out for that, but that'll come. So I've got a set of 4 needle nose pliers of varying angles. There's the water pump or slip joint pliers there. There's these set of 3 Vise Grips, or mole grips as they've been known over time in the UK. These are made by a company called Hilker, which I think also are probably a bit of a budget brand in the UK. I've had these for years, and the jaws, I mean, the jaws chew up everything if you're not careful, but they've not marred or been damaged on anything. They've really stood the test of time. There's a little vice grip there, which I used to use for clamping hoses and things with a bit of hose over it, until my wife bought me those for Christmas. Some wire strippers and a crimp there. I hate that tool. If you're going to buy a set of wire strippers, I'll show you the ones in a minute. I would suggest that you pick up another set of I think these are 8-inch water pump pliers, some side cutters. I've got an elastic band on the back of them because they are sprung loaded. Combination or linesman pliers there, wire cutters, some slip joint pliers, smaller set of combination pliers. These are Stanley. These ones are Stanley. Needle nose. This set of pliers here I've had for donkey's years. I just cannot bring myself to throw these away. If I could find something to recover the handle with, because they're not particularly comfortable to use, which is why I ended up picking these up when they were on sale. recently. I still go, they're still the pliers I go to pick up if I need a set of pliers. Just can't bring myself to get rid of them. Some cheap wire strippers there. These ratcheting crimpers my son bought me. So they open up, you put your thing in there and it sort of ratchets down to the point where it's totally crimped, and then your final sort of pull of the handle and then it releases again. But if you get to the point where you can't actually crimp it properly and you can't release them either, just press that button there and it releases. They're quite nice. Some aviation tin snips there. If you're going to buy wire strippers, buy this sort. You can adjust this is a gauge to adjust the amount of wire coming out the side that actually strips off, and you sort of pull down, it grabs the wire and then splits the sheathing off. They're really good. If you hate yourself, and you need some Circlip Pliers, buy these, because I hated every moment of using these things. The jaws, I held onto the handles with this spring-loaded clip thing here, which inevitably at the crucial point would always manage to come flying off in one direction with the head dropping. Just don't buy them. I'm not even sure why I've still got them in here, to be honest. Probably to remind myself never to buy stuff like this. So I bought this set to replace them with. I think these were about £20 from Machine Mart. You can get them for £20–25, something like that. You can get them for a very similar price on eBay or Amazon as well. And they can also be, you can reverse those, so they sort of open the clip inwards or outwards. And there's all sorts of, multiple sorts of heads on there, so it's a pretty versatile kit. There's the hose clamps, a tool for putting holes in belts, a mini set of pliers there, a pair of tweezers, and a pair of forceps, which generally I'll use for pulling stuff out of things where it's fallen in and it shouldn't be there, or for clamping down wires when I solder. So that's that. So that is the top chest. So moving down to the next.